My name is Senna. Let's talk some politics. Ekuobi ewa Ghana ha from CDD. Na CDD a cratchy phone ku yebeka se omo ye enimdifo womo survey on a lot of issues in the country, Ghana. Issues relating to governance, issues relating to policies. What you are saying, omo the opinion of Ghanaians. Na omo edi atudwa. What you are saying. Na Ghana for ye hunde koso. Na in CDD for one of our latest releases our moye no. Omo say let me show you the writing. So this is CDD Ghana, omo official poster we make here omo Facebook page eso. Now, let me just enlarge it for people to see. Let me enlarge it so that people will see what went on. Okay, so clearly you are seeing it, right? And no. CDD for poster we make we on March 21st last year. Etre say omo ye opinion polls we Ghana, right? Na omo etre say 14% of Ghana for pe and they believe in the judiciary. Into here was say insight from Afrobarometer surveys reveal that there is a growing sense among Ghanaians that not all citizens are treated equally before the law. Inti Ghana for GD say enye ye nina ena ye koko pie ewo judge ni mo judge no odi asem no pepepe. Otre say 14% of Ghanaians are saying they trust the courts a lot. Inti just 14% of Ghana for ena a trusted the judiciary. Okay, a trusted court. See the asem court a wamudi ni pepepe no 14% of Ghanaians pe. Inti no ye running it down ye fa Ghana for 10. Ghana for do. Ni ye see ye breaking it down 14% no ebeye nipa ba akope. Inti 14% say Ghana for 10. Nipa ba akope no ka so media asem court a me gidi say court no ebedi ni ye amame. Dodo na ehu ne say dabi. Judges ne kra no na politics etai omuchi and politicians etai omuchi a omudi asem ne ma politicians. Na wo bi be bisa say eba ne sen no man ye babedua, because listen, it is a very serious issue. If Ghana has say ye bibia e was ye Ghana court in a democracy, you can't joke with the judiciary. Inti Ekobane said the perception what Ghana krom ha and Krofo who say judiciary no omo ye corrupt, and I say just 14% of people have trust in the judiciary. It is a big issue. Any can say yes so. But then again the question will be that eba ne sen eni edru ha e den ne mass ade weni na eba and I think say we need, listen, I have constantly said say the constitution of this country has a big flaw, and I'm going to show you why I think it has a flaw. Now I believe that 14%, this is how it started, and now we eka and now almost 14% no aba. Now I'm going to show you on the screen right now, so you are seeing it. You are seeing the mid-2 screen is here, right? Okay, so let me clear this and then talk about this. Okay, so this is the number of judges at the Supreme Court. Okay, and the presidents are appointed as judges. And clearly, no there are 14 judges at the Supreme Court of Ghana. Now, what he say, just 2 of them. Inti Bakon, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and appointed as judge into the Supreme Court. Gabriel Puaman in 2015. And Bakon Bafo Boni on also 2008. John Akufo. The rest of the judges never Supreme Court in and the President Akufo Addo appointed. Out of 14 judges at the Supreme Court, 12 of them appointed by one president, President Akufo Addo. It is Ebane say Ghana for 14% spend a year the judiciary AD. Now the rest of Ghanaians and now the majority of Ghanaians say who they say and the judges can acquire politics. What does it mean? I think say this is a major factor. There is a flaw in the constitution, and unfortunately, President Akufo Addo exploited that flaw. Ye nipa. Let us not deceive ourselves. Eya na microphone say mo can say, oh, the judges, they are professional. It is a president be kran edi omobaya. Say president re kran asemba court ho na na asem nye da. Enya dia judges ni be dia momo. Hey. Yeah, sad dia na ya na ye ho say ye pese ye trese ye superhumans ni yenyai o. Yenyai. Yenye superhuman. Me ne mo kasa meti he. I am not going to lie to you. I am a human. And let me explain so you understand. Listen. If a judge is appointed to the Supreme Court, it comes with perks. It comes with privileges. Say judge no, now or any of the lower courts, ne appointed by Supreme Court, ne salary ebe kosro, ne allowance ebe kosro, ne privileges bi nyame bi a wonya no ebe kosro. Ebe kosro ma ebe dru baby kra no, ono kra ne nkrofo ono judge no, ono ebia nebusuafo kra no ebi beka omo so. Apart from the fact that it comes with honor, say judge ni do baby ye boni din say oh we Supreme Court judge. Sa ase ahofama no honor bia edeba no. Apart from that, no put ye yen kan ho. I'm just talking about the tangible things. Judge ni wonya, the salary ni nyama wonya no. I'm just talking about those things. It is a president appoint you obi. Na nipa kono ba bedane judge. The truth of Obabedani Supreme Court judge, the truth of the matter is that the president has changed the life of that person. Semia mimiti hei, ebia me salary, 1,000 cedis. No be babe mami promotion, na fei salary me babeje 10,000 cedis. That person has changed my life. And so if you want to tell me, say, because I am a judge, there is no way I will not have some level of loyalty towards that person, you are just not being human. I am putting myself in the shoes of such judges, and I'm saying maybe they are superhumans, but me and a president appointing me, Emma me babe than the Supreme Court judge. At least even if 1% grana, I'll have some level of loyalty towards that president. It is our president and a party. The assembly to me nim e Supreme Court ho. Na oni obi fufuro ene ekwa. You can't tell me say I will not be biased towards that person. Yen guys are the na e ka say omo ye professionals, they are not going to be biased, they are not going to be. Yen guys are they not humans? Maybe they are superhumans, but me, I am putting myself in their shoes, and I'm saying say if me nanka me a judge, probably I'll show some level of loyalty towards that person because that person has changed my life. Were appointing me to the Supreme Court into Wasisa Mabrabo. And then I'm saying very controversial cases be akoko PM e wo Supreme Court. Answer na say me akoko PM wo mukran Ghana for etumika so we nim outcome of Supreme Court de beba. Ombeka say unanimous 7, ombeka say unanimous 5 because sa judges na ye be mpa na wo mu nina wo case ni so no. Omu nina they were appointed by President Akufo Addo. It Ghana for to me predict it. That is why the former Chief Justice, Madam Gloria Akufo, Ebabeka say, saying the Supreme Court has become so predictable, too predictable. Case be abekobiano, ye nim di omo babeka. And indeed, people can predict a case where you say, Judge no di obeka ni di omu ni na Akufo Addo na appoint omu ni abeka sa asem ni mbongu. Na so bia na asem na bawom, ye beko no the same thing ye bebu egu. But you want to tell me say there is no effect that President Akufo Addo alone, out of the 14 judges at the Supreme Court, he alone were appointed 12 and want to tell me, say, there will be no effect. That is why CDD4, research nearby, you say only 14% of Ghanaians believe in the judiciary. Why do you think only 14%? Because the Supreme Court is the pillar of the judiciary in this country. It's the main pillar, the Supreme Court. It is a 14% of Ghana for per NAG judiciary in India. We are doomed as a country. Our democracy is doomed. Because the executive no legislature no the judiciary no also GN. But in the judiciary no you want to say oh omakwa di one side there. Any one ebe GN. Yeti. So I think say this is a major flaw in our constitution. It is a big problem that ye ma president selected and a president elected someone as a judge to the Supreme Court. In this country, say around democracy. I have said it on countless occasions. Ghana, a lot of things will make you feel say we run autocracy in disguise as democracy. You see 3 arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. And then school, we were taught say all these 3 arms of government, they are independent. And so any question will be to me bro eba obedience. But we all sit in this country. If the president is responsible for appointing judges to the Supreme Court and the lower courts, how is that? How can you explain that and tell me say and then it say independence of the separate arms of government? How can you tell me that? We all know how the legislature becomes a rubber stamp for the executive whenever the executive wants to pass something. And a perfect example is the e-levy. When the president wanted to pass e-levy, President Akufo Addo, the past president wanted to pass e-levy, we saw what the legislature did. They became a rubber stamp. But at the end of the day, esanso besan omochika say oh yesanso to abama MPP e-levy no make cancel. And so they knew that the e-levy was not good, but because the executive wanted to pass it, they became a rubber stamp. And so the judiciary no so ekoko deal lines it doesn't help the country in any way. And I'm not here saying say President Akufo Addo adia oye no unconstitutional dabi. What President Akufo Addo did was not unconstitutional. But constitution na man kwan say the president also appointed the chief justice and also appointed Supreme Court judges and judges of the lower courts. And you said the president but it is a flaw in our constitution. As you say, the perception of Ghana for have it on the judiciary, a cost roar. We need to change this. And I think that if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for me personally, it will be one of the greatest achievements Ghana for Edebe. Because listen, in Manasseh Azori, the book I will release here, President Akufo Addo, he made an allegation of a judge bia nanka judge nanka ni kwan say you appointing it to the Supreme Court. But a sense President Akufo Addo promises our judge no the godfather ofeli one fulfill promise now what the man judge no godfather into wakata and say oh the oba bia fa ba ne bra na me man appointment. And allegedly no judge no the godfather or the judge be by and a President Akufo Addo appointed our judge no call the Supreme Court. You see. And si sa ni pakrona President Akufo Addo na Supreme Court no ono eni wona kumemu so oba beda na judge and shed and chair sa we si will follow the process enya dia wo bedu Supreme Court wende so Akufo Addo ba na na Supreme Court sende case ba na involves the president and then the opponents of the president sa judge no case no be dia mahwan but Ghana for better na so the judge is professional in the case no obedi ne finchim Charlie. How long are we going to deceive ourselves? So for me, my suggestion would be that, listen, just as senior in the teaching field, or more no, I think say the reform should do something like that. Obia or try DBNim. Say, Oba bedani teacher, you start on a level, on a rank. If you want to increase your rank, you need to spend a number of years in the classroom. Say, what try there? What try there we are. Maybe a wako school, wako try exams, wako ye interview. You pass one year the wako rank for so now if you will pay ya then ya tum. And I think that should be done at the judiciary as well. So I review now your PCA in the constitution. No, you share this side at the judiciary. Inti no. Obana babedane jaja. At least you need to spend some number of years. Ewo lower courts no. O pese o promote ya oko school. What try exams? Why your interview? What I say? There should be a special neutral board. Be a mobile interview. You can say, oh, why are there? They promote you at a different level. Niti answer na lipa kuni bedu Supreme Court or no. Nebia was spending at least 15 years at lower courts or 10 years at lower courts. It was no more than bo and they didn't babeda Supreme Court. Nenye president be. One as a president in the denaba. Intino, I say will show loyalty that be so no other than modern bo and about do Supreme Court on found the president be. Because miana makomi school na my me interview na yede me aba do Supreme Court. We are president now case bar. And you now them buy mia it's no at least if even if it's not going to it's not going to work well krana. And even if it's not going to do anything, the perception Ghana for just 14% of Ghanaians and they have a perception they say the judiciary no a bias no. At least Ghana for be say okay. And your president and selected judges no say in the cases be a bebano, all those controversial cases be no or more after they will speak their minds. So you say Ghana, we want some seriousness in our democracy. Na enya kokwasa. Ni edi ye ho agro ni ye dada ye ho a. This should be the way forward. Na de ye agro. Look, 14 judges. Out of them, President Akufo Addo. Agro bi ni edi okroma. Untre mo agyen e comment box ni mo. E da say.